I'm ready whenever. What are theories of Cheng? The new shock invaders, more short because higher shot, burgers, insurance, proofs, anytime competing, use of lights, energy, after playing defense, after the first charge, she lost one for the one narrow, 1-7, C2, transportation, negatives, can see the first test of offense, free, I think, evaluate, turns to the offense, to bring also fair, tracking against also, pulling air, most layers, bringing off, bringing out, different turns to the app, making round false information, since you collapse on the framework, essentially 6 minutes, speed, negative, advantage, absolute, one time, location, you have a perfect one, so you can see the one layer, some salts, against the main course, shape, winner, moves, without the force, go through the world balance, term, false resolution, 8 resolution, from the balance, term, rule, like NC handbooks, so the state, point, glass, and the activity, only just the jurisdiction, be just false, biases, and counts that, who's the man who biases, doing after, negos, judgment, sense for judging construction the arguments of role for social bringers determined to impact the education judgment the bias possible from embarrassing the here show all have season the entry the thing just the opposite they just put the opposite all that's theoretically better nothing but wholly false for the next line the conversation there's 8 response you get to ask anything else to structure where your neighbor be taught by the court judging the average converse as a comparison with resolution questions 5 all theoretical violations derived from events between the beginning of the 20th and the area where variables can just be hacked Photoshop needs all outside the judgment judgment only things that happen inside the round anything else is infinitely abuse and multiple violation things they did 6 years ago when it's here for another round framing methods and constructivism ethics do not exist when they were created by agents why not just like problem constructivism can be absent the ability to perceive moral facts and creation moral rules through nor procedure makes a judgment legitimate. You're not 15. There are no facts which just serve version 10 such facts not be part of the furniture universal. You believe just serve version 2 things constructed by the coin toss. There are stories that makes those and false nevertheless are gross which further directing constructions version method of directing constructed by procedure 2 regress attempting 13 universal truths of infinite regress and we have to see how more to justify the previous one only constructing things that insolving procedures and so these things that procedure requires something more deliberation of truth itself rather than truth itself. 2 epistemology ideas generated through interaction rather than spontaneous introduction. Agent includes the thesis, one line synthesis, the 2 conjoined forms, the use of base for criminal action. Epistemology is necessary. Contradictions in constant introduction to 2 claims that appear in different agents ability to reconcile the ability to claim themselves and exist simultaneously to refine ideas become better through this time as agents to translate one assertion or truth against one other rather than one truth claim and then application universally seems the negative mythicism necessity rejection but rather than incorporation of the firm established applied thesis and volition of structure both a precondition has intrinsic value procedures of both mechanisms which agent activity between the words of constant and ethical theory the ability of both theories of based on the good foundations of both basic constants ethical subject between the relation of worlds of primary ethical consideration see motivation structure worlds of primary source both desires reason beliefs and generates what counts as motivation of the subject how rather theories failure develop the close to dilemma they are either clearly objectivistic extended effective or they are weakened by subjects and understand this false which create true moral claims to 14. Theories of reject the criteria that have been on sovereignty and drills for themselves of what they good life consists of pursuits of what is good life for humans and science functions inherent in human nature, but it should be left to each other how they live life. The theory of realized ideals appear paternalistic, even though something humans share the basis of the constitution. These imply very little comes to value how humans lead their lives, and the only solution to constant alienation is understanding the will and functional capacity of itself. The will criterion is the will to understand how one was ready, what one was gay to. Functional capacity willing to the middle ground teams of objective position because how the willing, what willing, certain way willing, oneself, what wills, relation, relation, and relation to the world, and this culminates in act of appropriation, ability to do something faculty, capable of taking product, care, species, and subject, and goal, itself, 3. Appropriation, when faculty is commanded, means it makes it their own becomes part of self, appropriation, public space, means more than we use them, maybe them by making what we do with them, both appropriate and appropriate are transformed, thus a role must be found everybody exists in mind, to interpret on events, so appropriation would be make the world more than having already, and appropriation made in recognition by other agents, spot the world's your own, cause community, recognize the agent, the pace to do so, and vice versa, 190. If one self 31 for oneself, I would recognize the dominating, but denies other freedom for myself words and real belong community which they grant each other freedom plus standards is the epistle ethical community for one action theory other being changes and active body capable generating and contentious and holding capable of the decisive action wishes in this feature of ethics and they must be more clear exception when movies and action or divided methods about action from ethical principles to every act of engagement methods and using relation establish relation to the world non-relation established relation non legitimate theory epistemology as communities or necessarily unified difference practical theory knowledge and knowledge of communities only use principles being big using knowledge based on world relation to the world because operations of arbitrary and just information only are being by principles ensure with clean knowledge just like how and why your agent how to use that knowledge for intense first it comes from the frequent false big men and 5. The long term subject 15 or 8 people of political commitments as external 8 young theories from forecast as force equal publics all between these core dark monkeys the action theory actions 5 intense to can value have the action that's intended as a act unify you almost raise the gods and swallow then it becomes a partaking action if they will see use just for justice and just as long as harm some event all this even they speak some things possibly argue that insults and they or still instantly can they still get some great other harms but the user can just find interesting wrongness we can't know what action good until we got well and send it further producing based on outcome of action 5 AJ 11 is an asterisk hours extinction only resolutions of friend AJ in first base 22 unlike AJ against human interest especially cancer wrong some like conditions human origin only they kill you because you can use paper clip on and they will just roll like that but there's something wars line up later which you get creators or officially that this purpose and second method system is used over something something you don't care about why like it's never substance large burn now less risk guaranteed everything is covered with negative scenarios so it should be on blue over Brits AJ every 3 to 6 extinction is inevitable bracket 21 vegetation has species environments compromise station is physical background rate station and undeniable probability size community growth food problems or else approximation damage contention. I think in the United States, Danish boost multi-press must be in another region because of revolution is valid statement. We don't have the other needs the after the super statement that we are valuing and based on a primary existence counterpoints don't negate one multi to hand alienating its trained soldiers functions autonomy. Jingle 13. Humans that citizens killing military guns by psychological training and developing willingness and is one by ongoing process of therapy offering conditioning to by starting offering the boost in language and 3 of premises to think that music culture more theory so to the bio human generally developing beyond acts so ways following mission surgery target like casting plain surgical strikes civilians surgical out of the understanding and understanding explained up to patient intervention were good how they right attention where the enemy are able to destroy training after soldiers and also educating to the stage more at least they can killing comes to 18, 2 U.S. military presence, external United States enforcement agenda, which lost individuals into one mindset alone. Now 15, the proliferation of democracy firms is not been correct political system, liberalism arguments, cultural agenda, increasing cultural jurisdiction, nominations, white stability, pregnancy, health, development, north facing white citizens, in terms of sudden binary groups, nations, states, they follow prior lines, anti-black, national global, extension, nations, refuse, motion carried on, liberal variance, international politics, characterize interdependence, cooperation, peace and security, nations' ability to determine may result in international intervention, and ability to Russian oppression, Western imperialism, the produces this was small, neoliberal society, still states are corrupt, lacking, insufficiently stable. 3, pluralism has in fact every society in society, aliens from the rural, corporate 16, politicization of American culture, celebrating Americans, accept truths in nation, national security, picture, mass civilians, regime, squat, and police with military hardware, pathway to overcome, message, was trade, national security, it's the National Defense Act, National Defense Highway Act, organization, language, wars, anything from cancer, poverty, illiteracy, obesity, language, manners, and real language, mentalities, and memory, culture, constitution, not present, commander, chief, and ocean, advising, pure, present, state, president, against society, war, opinion, humanity, defense, military society, and 4, that violates international, which are United States, they have individual actors, these are ones that have been intended from other states, that's Gogte 20, the state can be normal, and action, individual, and action, rational, personal, and others, the state cannot be an individual, acceleration, and commanders of the states, Hegel declares the state is for self, must else be others, must be therefore be recognized, I'll extend this, util fails, aggregation fails, you can't aggregate, IUT predicts, so the act, 2 acts is equal, migrant, self-defeating, illusion, maximum past possible friends, action, using action, means that it's self-defeating, and an entity, massive addiction, some people like pain and pleasure, for example, things like sadness, which means that even if pleasure inherently get pain is not intrinsically bad, no reason why no reason why death inherently impacts on energy, so it's just neutral, no reason why not having pleasure is inherently painful, it's just neutral at best.
You're for cross?
Yeah.
Okay. If I can see the app framework, is there any offense that you can extend outside of 1AR theory and ACC?
If you can see the app offense, if you can see the
framework,
is there any offense I can extend?
Yeah, well, not even ACC, but
what does that mean? Is it there's the app offense I can extend?
Like the contention, yeah, but anything outside of that, like are there any a prioris, skep triggers, etc.?
There are no skep triggers now.
Are there any a prioris, like any of that?
There are no things that are independent of the standard. Is that what you're asking?
Okay, cool. Let's talk about you contend United States ought to change. So you don't fiat the app. So what will you defend for the purpose of net ground?
We defend a value statement. I.e., we defend that military presence is bad.
Okay, so what's my burden as the negative to then say about that?
The truth, military presence is good.
Okay, so if I read a dissent that says that military presence would be good, is that not offense?
When we say the consequences plans are not contingent to the value statement.
So this is just based on consequentialism again.
It's a question of in a vacuum, what is good and what is bad.
So it's just about
in a vacuum. What?
It's just about consequentialism then. If I win consequences matter, then the DA's offense still?
Well, no, it's a question of arguments that in a vacuum, i.e. objectively speaking, regardless of empirical circumstances, is something good or bad. That's what a value statement is. Right? Consequences determine what is happening right now in the world, what value statements, etc. Arguments that in a vacuum is the resolution a good idea. We go on that in a vacuum, military presence is intrinsically a violation of that community.
Why do you, before you go to sleep, why do you go on your phone, or like why would you use your phone ever?
I don't go on my phone.
You don't go on your phone?
Yeah. Are you in my room or something?
Okay, why do you go to sleep at night?
Why do I go to sleep at night?
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel eepy.
Because there's nothing else to it?
Like, what does that mean? I have the volition to go to sleep. Arguments that alienating myself prevents me from going to sleep, which is bad.
Okay. Extinction's inevitable. Did you read this card?
Yes.
Okay, you read everything in the app?
Yes.
You exempted a couple of ag fails, like util indicts. Anything else was exempted?
No.
Okay. All theoretical violations must be between the 1AC and the end of the 2AR. Does this mean that you get 2AR theory?
That's not what theoretical violations. It says all theoretical violations to contrive between the 1AC and 2AR.
Okay,
wait. I should reject out-of-ground violations.
Okay, ACC was not contrived yet. Why is this real? Like, why?
What do you mean ACC is not contrived?
What's
in the 1NC, when you can test either the act framework or the act contention, which is between the 1AC and 2AR, then the violation will be contrived.
Okay, sure. The contention. Can the U.S. ever take any action with military?
Can the U.S. take any action with the military?
Yeah.
If you're talking about the peace counterplan, the peace counterplan would not solve because our argument is that insofar as the military is still trained, it still requires sort of military training that we say is inherently bad, and it's also a form of dominating Western ideology, which we say is alienating in other countries.
Okay, sure, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I'll start prep 5. There was no other theory besides ACC, right? Or AFC.
No theory other than ACC, AFC. We say converse theory. We say all theoretical violations as you can draw between the 1AC and the 2AR.
Okay, sure. Alright, 328. I'll send it. It's 5 that case.
Order on case?
The overview, the framework, the outcomes. So.
When you mean framework, where are you getting to the util fail stuff?
On framework. So
Okay.
so actually util fails first, then their framework.
Yeah. Just give me a, like, as you're moving, just give me a second to switch my flows.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm ready whenever.
I'm gone, sorry.
Let me know when you get it. Your file.
Alright, let me down it. I'm good.
Cool. Use comparative roles. One, real-world politicians compare arguments on policy choices and not true statements of plans which all should collapse. The second, inclusion critiques when we approve the resolution false but index based assumptions as a general basis. Some disabled debaters who can't read text of walls and novices that don't prep a priori. The three, theory outweighs our index, our ability to test the rules about in the first place. Also creates structural rules that precede the judge's ability to make decisions. Three, reciprocity prevents definition. Tricky one, sees outweighs because the two one skew that its definition kills fairness. Also means rejecting the project presumption of permissibility. They mean that actions like rape and genocide are permissible, which is the voting issue for accessibility. Outplayer their theory are because no jurisdiction negate and affirm the resolution so dockets issue because the theory redefines rules. Logic is wrong. Debaters don't have to center around the truth, even if all statements are true. No evidence mirror the IE scalar better than degrees of wrongness. Be binaries like nuance on competing moral claims that's binding this. Next off, counterplan the United States should first rate 10 largest centers of with AI. Counterplan the United States should best legal rights and duties in artificial intelligence. There, reaching security consensus now that's needed by Saudi Nicole 2-1. Saudi was willing to make a commitment and bid to get approved the U.S. diplomacy normalized with Israel. Anger Arabia increasingly keen to security war to Iran plans to transform the economy. Pass giving military protection on a coordinated surprise view means the plan independently because it triggers a surprise announcement about Call 19. Drawdown from two spaces taken into allied surprise neither communicated, unleashing deeper concerns of abandonment, extinction, Sanders. Point 3. Saudi Arabia acquiring nuclear weapons to dangerous risks that all-time high proliferation increase the risk of nuclear weapons only for deterrence, ignores human error, miscalculation, misunderstanding, fraud, nuclear war more likely with AI, nuke war causes extinction. Ever 17. The climate effect nuclear warfare from the new climate scientists use improved models, hundreds of thousands of weapons might be launched. Never sure which article degrees last seen the ACHS smokes famine, ecological disruption effect, similar giant meteors responsible extinction dinosaurs, complex control bees, RP checks. Next off, interpretation debaters must respond to pre-round emails with specific warning sees that after 30 minutes before the round. Debaters must disclose the plan, framework, advantage areas before the round if it's not new. The screenshots inserted and I CC'd you Haroon on the email. One stress you. If they don't respond, then we're left in the dark until the round starts. If I don't know that is actually you unless it's confirmed, they confirm it. No part of it has been read, which means that I still prep the previous stuff still on their wiki and their interim debt allows the debaters to evade theory violations like disclosure since they're technically never said that they wouldn't have sent the app, they just didn't. That is unique. That uniquely ruins pre-round preparation, kills testing in favor of newness engagement, which gives the app a structural advantages. They have infinite prep time to prep all negative arguments, but we only have 4 minutes to prep which unreciprocal one of the apps on my wiki forces by 30 and 30 minutes of prep between 8 different apps. If we win, the 30 minutes of prep isn't key, then we're getting a fraction of it than if they didn't tell us what the app is. Second is app quality, not discouraging, engages, encourages misses votes in the app and changing most of the shot can use cheap shots. If the app isn't easily defeated by 20 minutes of research, it should lose. That means that the shell is a prior sequencing question. Everyone is the argument system means that we're unable to engage, so your offense shouldn't be evaluated job. The argument or assume that their shoes, so our offense uploads every check out in one AC paradigm issue and fairness to the voter rate comes before education. They made this arguments on the 1 year theory drop the debate or 1 to prevent so reading abusive practices in the future since it's not worth losing which key to normal indefensible practices. IO second TS otherwise you read a bunch of abusive practices and competing interpretation reasonability encourage reason margin of what counts as insufficient burden makes impossible norm setting encourages more fair rules. No RBI and disclosure truths legitimizing disclosure theory because you would always lose on the shell even if it's good. Norm second baiting incentivizes people abusive and script counter interpretations on RBIs increase the existence of bad norms. The violations can be before the round. They can lie about the app and be abusive about something irrelevant to the round. All our offense for why disclosure is good answers this because we have said disclosure is good, not that other rounds of violations are. They say they're not verifiable. They are. I sent her in the email and it's in the judge's jurisdiction. And also we've there's proof. We've included screenshots. This model debate justifies lying in every part of debate outside individual and makes every norm we have in debate infinitely worse and impossible to engage in. Fourth level interpretation, the app may only guard an offense of the hypothetical implementation of the United States, which our military presence violation was cross-resolved. Means not policy. Word space 64 resolved is it by legislature to establish a law. FGT is voting issue less than the mechanism of resolution and world hunger, which means that they can negate offense and ruin the margin of truism. So the fifth off, I value morality, standard consistent with consequentialism. One only can explain degrees of one is worse to kill 1,000 people than a lie of friend debate requires regularly mitigating material violence. I do theory focus on diagnosing problems as opposed to generating discussion on how to solve create oppression and less academics as students alike the responsibility for reducing just complexity. A search project understanding with emphasis limitation means that their theories must be prioritized and action restriction cover the ideological failures and no mission distinction or time for distinct governments must create permission and prohibition in action and functionally action of policymakers such as take global perspectives since they are responsible for public elected relevant issues and extinction ways under any framework. Part 15. Research was no most important their transparent trans speech well-being restore ways of percentages some not concerned shock louder matter don't bias mirror pause version decharging every shot must be used to promote combustion reduce essential regime damage to David's moral and certain uses as a risk. The case page. First, we only defend the converse of the resolution and also we do get counterclaims because if it's our burden to prove the app is bad, not that the resolution isn't true. This is a poor model of debate and all our often competing interpretations answers this interpretation. Affirmative debaters may not read app framework choice or contention choice to clarify. They may not say that the neg is not allowed to contest app framework or the contention violation neg they pick the framework and contention and shield the app from relevant negating arguments which arbitrarily suggest the quality of engagement neg takes the deck too far in favor of the from arbitrarily insulating a relevant criticism prevents it far from being adequate testing against well-prepared opponents. Second clash AFC destroys the philosophical clash that we give presume ethical theories are true which press framework clash 3 predictability AFC makes negating impossible to do additional specifics so they can adapt each possible framework and for the 1 year theory the NC theory first the abuse was self-inflicted which was on the T stage and then negative abuse always after abuse infinite part-time before the round front line. Second 2 year psychology and last speech infinite perms and uplaying 1 year reasonability actually dropped it yeah that's fine. The framework proper first will answer there in util index aggregation doesn't fail because we're using body counts which means that we're able to sufficiently explain why killing 10 people would be worse than 1 people. They say infinite consequences will answer this later and also arguments for why consequences exist in the first place and killing people would be bad is also offense here. The framework the induction doesn't fail. If I drop a pen I know I will follow just because it isn't perfect doesn't mean that I'm able to make reasonable predictions. They need to prove its efficient defense and performativity. It's not contextual to existentialism. You relies on people making individual decisions based on their pain and pleasure. It's not inescapable hold line just because we have freedom doesn't mean that it's a way that we claim to use our freedom for yesterday's intentions. Reliable justifies utility. The other see 8 moral protections so to normalize the institution you're left to the institutions rock if you violate utility paradox of contradiction and moral incoherence people will say the same amount 50,000 5,000 the institution brought the brain down multiplied but ought to be multiple areas of preference for more aggregation claims that choice the same one life on how many exist it cut the card exists. This card also answers all the reasons for why the framework fails. Go the contention top level it doesn't affirm even if they're right that militarism is bad they haven't won a reason why reducing military presence would be able to solve for that. We've read even if they win the Saudi DA isn't offense under their relies on consequences. We also made an argument for why China and Russia would fill in which leads to more militarism and more alienation in the status quo which means that it always under their non-utilitarian offense. The AGI stuff first is that our internal link card on the util on the dissent is that a nuclear war and proliferation would be able to make AGI worse which means that we solve their internal link better. Second is this card does not have a warrant for why it outweighs extinction. It just says AGI would be bad which means we can use 2 year answers when we answer this. It doesn't say it's an asterisk which means that there is no warrant for why it outweighs and our extinction outweighs card our primary evidence answers this as well. Extinction inevitable the Bradshaw card does not make a claim. It just says vegetation and that people don't have food but it says that species are going extinct but we're all alive and human. Our argument is about humans being alive which means that this answers that. If I dropped any trick permissibility etc hold the line line, the implication was mute will be mute later. I'm good for cross.
Sorry, you didn't read the fourth off, right?
What was it? Yeah, I did.
Extra T?
I
You read
did.
it?
I read it.
What's the violation?
The violation is that you do not defend the hypothetical limitation of a reduction in presence in the
Where does
water
it say that I have to defend fiat? It just says I have to defend the federal government, which I do. It says I defend
Resolve means
policy
to enact a
by law,
policy by law.
and we defend result. So why does that mean?
You don't feel
It's a value statement of a policy statement. Why does
Resolve means that you have to enact a policy. The plan,
Yes,
you're very clear that
and
you
we
do
enact
not.
a policy.
No, you do not.
How? Where do we say that? Just because it's a value? Why does something being a value statement means it's not a
Because
policy?
you do not defend the fiat or consequences of that action. A policy has two sides.
Wait. Violation. Where does it say anything about fiat and consequences?
I made that in my speech.
No. In the violation cards, how can the violation?
The violation cards are
The violation cards justify a violation. Where are the violation cards justify that I defend consequences?
It says that it has to establish a law and policy. You were very clear that you
where
do not
have
do
you said
that.
that we don't defend
Okay,
policy?
if you want to concede the if you want to say we meet and say that you do defend the hypothetical consequences, I'll go for the side of DA. Like that's fine.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Disclosure.
You're welcome.
How do you solve for changes? I.e., you say we can change a lot of parts of the apps insofar as the only thing that your insert can solve for is plan text, framework text, and advantage area. How do you solve anything insofar as the plan text, framework text, and advantage area are all in the wiki?
Because
Why does it not have an exact what means I can change it?
our argument is that there's so many different apps. I had 25 minutes to prepare for them. You're saying that you're not giving me the app makes it impossible for me to have a prepper and impossible to engage because I do not know which one is.
I understand, but you've read a specific standard that says that we can change any parts of the app and you can't know. I'm asking you.
No.
I'm asking
You have
how
to say that there's changes if there is. Like that's not. You have to disclose it open source. My violation was very clear. I said, can I get a copy of the document? Like this is not a winning argument.
Yeah, but that's not what your interpretation justifies. Your interpretation is not just like me sending you open source. Your interpretation justifies me sending you the plan text, framework text, and advantage area. So I'm asking you, how do you solve for me changing all the parts of the app insofar as all the
Exactly.
things
You would have to open source those things to me. You would have to send me what the advantage is.
But your interpretation doesn't solve for that. I don't think you're understanding my question.
I don't understand your question. What is it?
Oh, it's fine. Let's go into this accessibility argument. How do you solve for it?
Well, by being.
Well, why is it not unique? I do not know what the 1NC is. I don't know what the 1AR or 2M is. Why does that not justify anxiety for me?
I'm confused by the question.
Your argument is that people who aren't expected and do not know what the app is, and people with processing disorders are inaccessible. Insofar as people with processing disorders do not know what the 1NC, 1AR, 2-1, 2AR, the entire debate is not.
Well, because the
scripted.
1AC is the basis foundation for the debate. The next burden is to join the app.
Yeah,
which means that
yeah,
the
but
starting point has made it impossible for it to be accessible in the first place, which means that you made the accessibility impossible in the first place.
I mean, these are some great arguments, but I'm asking you where in the standard
They are.
justified it.
What?
Okay, that's fine. The consequentialism, what is it? Where do you justify what does it mean for standards to be consistent with consequentialism? How is that an ethical framework? Where do you justify why death is bad? What is valuable? Why is consequences being consequences? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Now what?
Well,
Why is that bad?
If we evaluate, well, people inherently like pleasure, just like pain.
Wait, why do you justify that? We just like pleasure and pain.
The arguments we accepted the neuroscience stuff. Right after consequent the active-mission distinction.
You exempted neuroscience. Okay.
Yeah, like neuroscience, we've evolved in a way like pleasure, just like pain, like pleasure, just like pain, which means that it's bad for us to have mass atrocities, die, etc. Which answers your Utah justifies mass atrocity stuff as well.
Sure. Okay, I5, start now. actually look for it. Any kind of reason to reject it, like any operators?
Well, I mean, like T and
The reasons
disclosure.
are about the date and not to the 2AR. Okay. 323. I'll make sure. The order is the disclosure shell.
You have 323 left or used.
323 used.
Right.
Disclosure shell, extra T, the app.
1 second.
Starting in, oh yeah, sorry.
I'm gonna move these around. Disclosure shell.
Yeah.
What's next?
Extra T,
Extra T. Continue.
app framework,
Framework.
app offense.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, app overview, app offense, app framework. Or app overview, app framework, app offense, sorry.
It's on the app page. I'm
Yeah.
good.
The NC,
You mean util?
yeah,
Yep.
and then the dissent.
Yep. Is the comparative world stuff in?
No.
Okay. Cool. I'm ready. Whatever.
Is there a dot?
No.
Alright, I'm good.
Just take a second when you're switching from flow. So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Find me, I told you one, the apps on the wiki, every app on the wiki is a standard apps, you text in the mandatory, no violation, plus I need to read the violation, screenshot, just to look at it, violation, considered, regarding arguments on this speech time penetration. I can say it's one of the apps on the wiki, but all the apps on the wiki are topical, so your offense, you basically prepare for any of them because they're topic penetration. I can say the apps on the wiki, and the TOC simply solely just 3 minutes of prep time, 3 months of prep time, resolve like all your offense, one response, the ads prep, online stations, which means only so you can prep the opposition wiki, 2 prep, 2 the apps, 3 prep, for the 1 year and 2 year, rather than only spend 2 prep, 2 and hours, apps exposed on, exposing the exact whose liking is a net take prep, 1 C, which using space prep time, 3 strategy, decision making, force you decide what you really believe about reading foster, and judge decrease critical thinking, 4 afflex, next, strategies, the cost 10 makes you refer to so I see kind of case saying is one wiki solves because you prep as you have wiki big the same one app and I'm trying to prep solves all your options you get just wiki sell prep case next five small school you can line coaches prep case next long as case for doing training is good sort of quality increase critical thinking force you do some of the work answering app and round education now waste fairness internal impacts all fairness and no reason on the stress then we solve we have the apps you test version time you need good education because you learn about multiple different apps on the second standard no reason you can solve for changes you only have things like an advantage area which we can solve accessibility and non unique fact that you don't know the 1C 1 year 2 year and no reason when I see things this point matters because your is not key to the 1C proper now the second shell specialty we solve and need defend policy action no reason that means consequences. There's no implicit violation as to why, and whether we're just granting consequences, or if consequences fail, which is not a question of our advocacy proper. Also, we defend beyond, and we don't go our offense with the world values. So that's extra anything here. We're not hiding here. They are very proper. Extend alienation is like straight action to overview proper. We're not going for AFC, ACC, but all the reasons why no RBIs should take it out because it's not offensive counter incoherent. Just say clone the same as RBIs because you don't just like the form of things bad. Just reason that's why the counteration is bad. You should not run for winning. The static constraint properly. We're going for alienation is cycle train. See every exercise you gauge is an instance of using relation to establish some relation to the world, and only on nation establish relation is no relation. It's not a reason for permissibility. It's a reason that's why it's just hijacks your framework. The reason why your framework has to come first. Affirm military presence is export Western norms and alien others from the ways of government to handle bad and under a framework. You say one, there's a reason why solve. Yes, we do solve because if we reduce military presence, we're no longer in other countries. Just handling good. You say China, Russia, failure. No reason that's consequential, and no reason why China, Russia is inherently the same people. It's being raised in U.S. norm inherently bad, and that's the only thing we can solve. Suspicion, you say it's just defense at best. Now the framework flow. Use epicenter confidence. A resolvability. Not 6 here in the data. Can probability of everything. Shooting is possible. Bad action. We have to say every possible correct. A framework. There's third framework proper overview. What the fuck does it mean to the standard consequentials? Why is pleasure good? Why is pain bad? You should hold him to it. There's no util standard. It means that you should hold the line because there's framework cannot justify anything. Justly change for misbelief. You should earn affirmative framework. The only thing can justify anything. Independently constants fail. The meta is damning. ATL 360 forecast. People forecast throwing monkeys. Don't argument saying that it's asking you to validate all legal consequences. No, the study asked them to validate political, asked them to make political economic forecasts, and so that show that it's very an equal probability of because that's how bad a forecast they are. Independently, you can see a couple arguments. You can see one. You can see actions. Your actions are defined by aims. You can't validate actions absent the aim acts. You fight, you drink on as high as a glass and swallow, which have different constitutional parts. Making actions and things. Also, you use atrocities and justifies a lot less harm to the benefit others. Even if they use people want to the argument and insults, and there's still instances of great harm for benefit others. Harm. D. Can see use located mentions and wrongs. You can't know whether actions until we analyze state fairly producing space on outcome the action. Can also see no reason that is bad on their own. You can see it's not impact because just his lack of pleasure doesn't mean inherently painful. Because also have much less pain and pleasure. Both line arguments say the degrees of wrongness. No reason to degrees wrong. You should not wait. You take bad actions first. You say negative violence. You also make a violence. You say sure to respect everyone's freedom. Say act respect one. Just because it's not valid to use it means it's good. You take bad action all the time. Use bad action all the time. Also independently the mean space like the Bill of Rights, and it can take it absent involution. Based activation sanction. No infinite amount of things that you can be held accountable for and possible. And consequences doesn't matter. You say treat equally. We treat everyone equally. We should respect everyone's position. Say cover everyone's no warrants or moral uncertainty. And if we want to we're not morally uncertain. Also the reason why just has extinction or living and suppose you not just have pain or pleasure. You calculate argument intuitions are different for everyone. For example, I think intuitive is kill. You think to be bad. Also different ideas of what is funny, what is important, what we can solve. And there's no warrants. Just list a bunch of examples. For example, I don't want my hammer bashing with my head, but that does not a warrant. For the neuroscience argument, there's no warrant. You can't justify neuroscience study independently. It's not valid just because it's neuroscience doesn't mean that's inherently good. The the exact proper will impact turn will come to AGI argument. Consider that the extinction is inherently good because it prevents AGI from being created. Because the AGI will be created and will misaligned, cause infant estrus. I think like the paperclip AI or infant chambers makes it dying out and preferable. Even they just like things like pain and pleasure inherently good. They say one they turn it, no, they don't turn it because they're silent proliferate just as people proliferate nuclear weapons. The reason we want to use like AGI is inevitable, something will happen regardless of the outcome for framework. It doesn't matter if things get worse because no matter what estrus is the worst thing, if extinction is not better. You can see the only way to solve estrus is if everyone dies, and before to prevent AGI being created in the first place, means just game over. It's impact turn. So framework they should not get it in the first place. Independent when consequences do it, should not take it out. They have not. They can see epsilon competence. They have not just like any reason. That's why it matters in our framework.
335. Was the reason for IME on disclosure the non-verifiable?
No.
What was it?
One, you say you must disclose plan text advantage area. All my apps on the wiki have plan text framework advantage area.
Okay.
2, you didn't read the screenshot out loud. It's not a question of it being non-verifiable. It's a question of you having to say the words in the screenshot out loud, which you didn't do. I hate the fact that you asked the question.
That's fine. Were there any voting issues, 1 or 3?
There's detail. No.
Okay. Disclosure. Actually, disclosure to you.
I'm good.
1 second. Sounds good.
Right, yeah.
The 2-AR will inevitably drop a one-line blip that was spread through in the 1AR, but you should hold the line because our model debate is better. The 1AR is no weighing between standards, which means that if we win, the strategy skews the base impact, you instantly vote negative. So we're going for strategy skew. Since they don't have disclosed, we're left in the dark and don't know what to say versus that. This means that they can evade theory violations because they technically have not violated the norm and force us to blast through every app on this topic, past topics, and from past years, because you just said that it's on your wiki, which means that past year's wikis and also your NovDeck apps all link to this, which means that all your offense about topicality, etc. still links to our offense because you just said it's one of the apps on the wiki, not one of the apps from this topic, which means that they really want to get semantical. Our offense all links to that, and it makes the negating impossible because there's literally infinite apps that could potentially be affirmed under their model. The first argument is one is the violation was clear. I screenshotted Haroon on this. This is a horrible model debate. If they can get out of this because it justifies them lying blatantly about stuff and getting away with it, which means that it's possible. They say that we didn't read the screenshot. How the fuck do I read the screenshot? It was given in the doc, and also there's no problem. They inserted certain stuff into this argument, and they were extremely flippy about this. There's no warrant for why we have to save the screenshot independently. There is a clear violation. They did not disclose the app, which means that our prep burner was impossible. The counter interpretation they said if it was to our offense above this is that it could have been about a past topic answers this, but second, this is arbitrary. Why does it have to be topical for you to disclose? K-apps obviously they should have to topical apps should also disclose because there's an infinite amount of 1ACs and there's an infinite amount of different ways to take an angle on the topic, whether it's philosophical, critical, policy, etc., which proves that it just is arbitrary. Just because it's within the bound of the topic proves that it wouldn't be there. 3 is that there's questionably topical firmness. Even if they defend like a Turkey app, that doesn't mean that the Turkey app is necessarily topical because it could not be in West Asia, which means that this doesn't make sense. See, it's at the TOC. This proves how bad of a standard of a model debate their interpretation is. This is completely arbitrary. Why at the biggest tournament should we have to, should we be more dodgy, less evaded to clash? We should want the best debater to win, which means that it's the worst strategy to avoid it at the TOC. Having 3 months doesn't prove this because you could have broken round 1 at the TOC and round 3 now I wouldn't have any clue and I would have to engage in that app along with the other 9 apps. It's arbitrary because there's no grounding for which why at the TOC it necessarily has to be. The next argument I did not class, it was some kind of catch, but something like every sort of presumption, but there wasn't a warrant for this. It's worse because we're not able to engage in all our offense about strategy skew above answers this. They say that we would only prep before the 2-AR, which is worse. This proves that negating is better. We would use the round before, we would use the time before the round to engage in your 1AC, create the best strategies to rejoin the affirmative, which means that we are the most in-depth clash, the best sort of research, which they later said critical thinking, etc., which proves that this is the best model because we would be able to maximize our critical thinking. Second, it's irrelevant because the 1NC could still use prep time to adapt the best if they make certain changes or the way that cross-sex evaluates, which means that it's different. They say that it's good for strategy, but it's worse because we know what the app does, which means that we're able to engage in the strategy. I was totally lost in cross because I had no clue what this app did, which proves that their model debate means that the neg is always left in the blindfold, which is especially problematic when they dropped on the other flow that Netflix outweighs Appflix because they have infinite prep time for their 1ACs, which means that magnifying infinite prep time along with 8 different affirmatives means that negating is impossible, and they say critical thinking. It's way worse under their model because we're never able to deeply engage with their actual philosophy. I had to pull up random blocks that obviously didn't apply. They were destroying me on this page, which means that it's impossible for us to in-depth critical thinking because we were not able to engage in those arguments independently. Critical thinking isn't as big of an impact as strategy skew because strategy skew indexes how we engage critically and what ways we in-depthly take that path. Even if critical thinking is important broadly, if we're not able to engage in it deeply, it doesn't matter. They say the wiki solves, obviously doesn't. All offense above about why the wiki has so many different apps, why it could not be topical, etc. All link here, and also it doesn't because you didn't specify which app specifically would be on the wiki, which means that all our offense about strategy skew and predictability links independently. They've dropped the second argument on our show, which is that the app quality is just would encourage their model debate encourages the worst quality app. All they have to do is have something semi-tangential to the topic, and it means that they could read infinite affirmatives about this, and means that they could exploit the prep burden, which means that it leads to worse engagement and worse argument of the worse education, which they said outweighs fairness because we would just proliferate new apps without actually getting into the weeds and detail about why they're good. They say pre-round prep solves. It doesn't because I only have 30 minutes to prep so many apps, and also it doesn't because you did not explain which ones is on the wiki. We answered this argument like so many times above. These are the same arguments. The small school argument seem to be defense to our standard, but even it's not offense for them. It's irrelevant because if we cannot engage in the 1AC, that's worse for small schools because big schools at least have prep groups that coaches that are able to help them prep for the infinite amount of apps. But a small school debater would only have themselves, which makes it even worse. They say education before fairness irrelevant because because their model debate destroys education. It proliferates the worst sort of apps, means that we don't have in-depth education, but fairness comes first. It's a prerequisite to accessing education. They dropped an argument on the one-year theory side that just says that fairness is a prerequisite because it means that the only way for us to have in-depth clashes is if we're both at equal playing fields and we both have a chance to engage, which means that only if fairness is able to resolve their educational impacts, and it's a prerequisite to the battle because we both want to win. If the fairness doesn't matter, then you should just vote neg for no reason. They say that we can have changes here. This is going to be the 2AR. He really pivoted on it, but the can't changes argument is solved by our interpretation. It was very clear that debaters must disclose the plan, framework, advantages before the round, if not new. Making changes doesn't mean that you don't get to disclose this stuff. You might be able to make those changes and then disclose it after, but that doesn't mean that you're evaded from disclosing it. You still have to do all that, which means that you can just manipulate changes. Is obviously nonsense. Second is that even if they can make some changes, it's way better than not disclosing that because it would still be the same advantage area. It would still be the same sort of literature that they would be engaging in, which means that we would still have engagement on that. Even if it's not perfect, it's way better than the model debate that they say. They say future speeches. Oops, you answered accessibility when I didn't read it, which is the only implication of this argument. But also the one I see starting before means that it dictates how the rest of the debate works, which means that obviously this is a non-standard topicality. You cannot justifiably cross-apply any of these arguments to disclosure, and also they didn't make a reason for why any of these arguments were classified to disclosure. Also, these arguments were extremely blippy in the 1AR as well, which means you show line. Look, I'm probably going to drop a short standard, but strategy skew outweighs everything else. You two are winning should be crossed off your flow. This is just a terrible model debate where we can lie about what we do. Prep.
2 minutes, sorry now.
Wait, definitely not. You have?
Definitely yes. Oh no, sorry, 2:27. No, 2:37.
No, you used
3:37. 1:37.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Okay. Can you just end the show?
Good.
Alright, how are you good? Going for must read your screenshots out loud. No violation implicit. I mean, you didn't read the violation. The screenshot just said, look at it. It violates a constitutional rule based. Any arguments outside. You should concede and drop the argument. Which means that you should really about it. You say, how do I read it? You read the message. I read the question that you said. Read the answer. I was going to explain it in flex, but you shut me up. This is not my fault. You see no reason why you need to read it. Yes, the government explains constitutional rules of the game. Anything else, just by just putting a bunch of on, for example, putting entire frame, putting entire off, and just saying, look, you just look at it, which means it's inherently bad. No, you see the constitutional feature like the question, what you read this times should outweigh. You say they're not supposed to yeah. No, there's no reason why you're not supposed to yeah. You have not read the screenshot out loud. Saying not supposed to yeah does not mean anything. Absent reading the screenshot means that there's no violation. So even standards British and incoherent. Now we're going for the counter, but we're still slapping them because somehow you spent 6 minutes, you're still losing. Harker's 06 in the TOC on this for a reason. Now, counterpretation, I can say this one yes, but if it's a TOC, their only arguments are ranting, did not answer the core wrong. Conceded that it solves a good person hate speech because even if it's not just 30 minutes of prep, the question is 3 months of prep time, which would be reason that's why you should still have prep speed. So go in depth, even if it's not solve all their offense, it should be sufficient value through sufficiency frame, which is solve enough because it means that they can still do enough prep and still engage in none of the apps. If we went over the standards, should be outweighed. Now we're going for conceding fairness outweighs probably they have not weighed any standards. We're going for reciprocity outweighs dropped. The reciprocity, I'd say prep all negative positions because the only reciprocity will be to prep every app position on the wiki. Their prep score presumes that they're the only ones at the prep. The argument is that there's already implicit app prep burden, which means that us not disclosing the app is only reciprocal for it, which means it is justified. I.e., there's a prep score on both sides, there's just app function, no prep score at all. It means that only our term solves for fairness violations. There is an inherent fairness violation that they can't solve for because the fact that we solve for every net position, but they do not solve for every app preposition means that only we solve the structure reciprocal reciprocity outweighs is the only standard way you've heard this debate because it's the constituent definition of what fairness actually is. I.e., it is one-to-one definition. Now I do something, you do something, which is that only we outweigh. Next thing we're going for is app standard, which is the only other fairness standard. The next 30 minutes tailored for strategy, 6 minute clock, 10 next year. If they program prep, air so back to T kind of case, these are all conceded app flex words and answer that next flex words. They conceded things like if the program prep are non-unique count regardless, but you can see that the explicit standards like 6-minute collapsing like 2 and things like T kind of contains and things like 30 minutes of a tragedy are reasons why athletics inherently outweigh. They can see the R standard is uniquely necessary because pre-round prep, they can see the R standard is uniquely necessary because it's one of the wiki solves using craft ideas based on the absent by wiki, but don't make 30 minutes to sing out one specific action. Allows me to have some sort of strategic course arguments or arguments versus answer any perhaps humor fairness that they can inherently go for because even if we're unfair, it was justified because there's a structural unfairness managed to us in the first place. It's the only way to rectify this dispute. Even if you think this norm is bad, on the flow they have just conceded 2 fairness standards and justified fairness first. They have conceded reasons like prep skew is not unique and reason that's why even if it's a prep skew, there's no reason that's why it means that they cannot solve the second half prep skew, so only we can solve prep skew and only we can solve for inherent fairness standard. Another standards problem where they concede that they cannot solve for their arguments that we can make a bunch of changes that you have no idea how to prep, but that is incoherent because the argument is that you cannot account for changes. You can account for changes to the plan text, framework area, etc. But you cannot account, for example, me changing how many util warrants you util prep out there are, or me changing the overview, or me changing all the offense cards because that is not something that's questioned that your interpretation justifies. You have justified competing answers norm saying should not matter. You also not justify drop the debater in 1. You also have not sent drop the debater in 2 or competing in terms or any parameter or drop the debater competing in terms, which means that there's no reason why the show matters. You show after question offense means you know that multi-present inherently bad because college structural alienation, the round is simple. Fairness offense is the only thing that matters. They've dropped reciprocity standard, which impacts turns over fairness standard, and also there's no violation.
Good debate.
Good round.